Have you ever felt a place was wrong? Not just creepy or old, but fundamentally wrong, like the very air you're breathing is tainted. I'm an urban explorer, and I've been in my fair share of unsettling locations, asylums, prisons, forgotten houses. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for the St. James Parish in rural Ohio. The church wasn't on any map I could find. It was a local legend, a ghost story whispered among teenagers looking for a thrill. They said it was abandoned overnight in the 1970s. The congregation just vanished. The building itself was a Gothic nightmare, a splinter of darkness against the flat, open Ohio landscape. Its steeple looked like a skeletal finger pointing an accusation at the sky. The windows were boarded up, but not all of them. A few stained glass panes remained, depicting scenes I couldn't quite make out from the ground, their colors dulled by decades of grime. Getting in was easier than I expected. The heavy oak doors, which I thought would be barred, swung open with a groan that echoed like a dying man's last breath. The moment I stepped inside, the temperature dropped. It was a humid summer day, but inside the church, it felt like a cold, damp cellar. The air was thick with the smell of decay, not just wood and dust, but something else, something sickly sweet, like old dried flowers mixed with rot. The interior was a chaotic mess. Pews were overturned, hymnals were scattered across the floor like fallen leaves, their pages yellow and brittle. A thick layer of dust coated everything, disturbed only by my own footprints. It was clear no one had been here for a very long time, but what was truly strange was that it looked like people had left in a hurry. A woman's handbag sat on a pew, its contents spilled out. A child's worn teddy bear lay face down in the aisle. It felt less like a place that was abandoned and more like a place that was fled. I started filming, my flashlight beam cutting through the oppressive gloom. The main hall was vast, the ceiling so high it was lost in shadow. My voice, as I narrated for my camera, sounded small and insignificant. I made my way towards the altar. It was surprisingly intact. A large leather-bound book sat open on the lectern. I brushed away the dust. It wasn't a Bible. The script was unfamiliar, angular and sharp. The illustrations were disturbing. Grotesque figures with too many limbs and hollow eyes danced across the pages. A cold dread, heavier than the chill in the air, began to settle in my stomach. This place wasn't just abandoned, it was unholy. I explored the vestry, the small rooms behind the altar. More signs of a hasty departure. A half-empty cup of what I hoped was coffee sat on a desk, a dark mold growing on its surface. It was in one of these back rooms that I saw it. Tucked away in a dusty corner, on a small rickety table, was an old rotary phone, a landline, black, heavy, and covered in cobwebs. It was absurd. The church had been without power for 50 years. The phone lines were surely dead. It was just a piece of forgotten junk. I filmed it, making a comment about how retro it was, a relic from another time. As a joke, I reached out and lifted the receiver to my ear, expecting silence, and for a moment, that's all there was. Just the dead, empty hiss of an open line. I was about to put it back when it happened. The phone rang. It was a single, piercing, metallic shriek that cut through the silence of the church like a razor. It wasn't a long ring, just one jarring, impossible burst of sound. My heart hammered against my ribs. My hand, which was still holding the receiver, was trembling. Every rational part of my brain was screaming. It was impossible. A prank. Was someone else here? I scanned the shadows, my light darting into every dark corner. Nothing, just dust and decay. My blood ran cold. My throat went dry. Against all better judgment, driven by a morbid curiosity that I now deeply regret, I lifted the receiver back to my ear. The hissing was gone. The line was crystal clear. A perfect, unnerving silence. I held my breath, listening, and then, a voice spoke. It wasn't loud. It was calm, measured, and impossibly close, as if the person was standing right next to me, whispering directly into my ear. It was a male voice, smooth and articulate, without any static or distortion. The kind of voice that could be reassuring, but in this context, it was the most terrifying sound I had ever heard. It said just 6 words. "We're ready for you now." The moment the last word was spoken, the receiver in my hand became intensely cold. Not just cool to the touch, but a deep biting, unnatural cold that felt like it was leaching the warmth from my body. I dropped it as if it had burned me. It clattered against the phone's cradle. The connection was broken. Silence returned. But it was different now. It was heavier, watchful. I stood frozen, my mind racing, trying to process what had just happened. My camera was still recording, a small red light blinking in the darkness. My own ragged breathing was the only sound. Then a new sound began. It started softly, a single, low creak of old wood. It came from the main hall. It was the sound a church pew makes when someone shifts their weight on it. Then another creak, from a different direction, and another, and another. The sounds grew in number and intensity, overlapping, echoing in the vast, dark space. It wasn't random, it was rhythmic. It was the distinct, unmistakable sound of a large group of people, all rising to their feet at once. I didn't wait to see who, or what, was standing up. I didn't need to. The feeling in that church had changed from one of decay to one of anticipation, of welcome. The congregation had returned, and I knew with a certainty that chilled me to my very soul that I was the sermon. I ran. I've never run so fast in my life. I didn't look back. I bolted through the main hall, past the overturned pews and the scattered hymnals, the creaking sound seeming to follow me, to surround me. I burst through the heavy oak doors and didn't stop running, until the skeletal steeple of St. James was just a speck in my rearview mirror. I still have the footage. Sometimes, when I'm feeling brave, or stupid, I watch it. I can see the dust motes dancing in my flashlight beam. I can hear the impossible ring of the phone. And if I turn the audio up, right after the voice on the phone speaks, right before the creaking starts, I can hear something else. A soft, collective intake of breath. The sound of a waiting audience. Their silence finally broken. They were ready for me, and I think they're still waiting. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations. Stay safe out there.